All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. If you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up. Say how you doing. Anything that is easiest for you. Just give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay. You can see me okay. You can see my screen. So make sure we don't leave anybody out for these gems today. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's work. Let's work. So it looks like everybody can hear. Okay, cool beans. Welcome to how to get started in real estate. Day one of the webinars, guys. We got a lot of good guests coming in this week, and it's gonna be game changing. You take notes and then take action right after it. So, got a special guest today, Mr. Ramon Tookes. He's gonna talk about how to fix and flip and build new construction, and of course, getting started in the real estate game. So that's that. So day one, how to fix and flip and build new construction. The things that we want you to take away from this is how to get started, the mindset and daily tasks you need to do to make this thing happen, how to fix and flip in new construction, how to analyze deals, what systems are we using, how to manage these transactions, as well as how to leverage and scale once you get past a certain level. A few housekeeping rules. Make sure you have a pen and paper or however you take notes, Google Docs, Google Sheets. Make sure you have that to catch all of this information. For the purposes of this call, we would have everybody muted. Now, if a question should arise, make sure you type it in the question and answer section below, or write it on a piece of paper and then put it in the chat. And we can, if we still don't answer your question, then we could bring you out at the end of the webinar if we didn't clarify anything. So let's get rolling. Let's get rolling. So first of all, who am I? I'm Bryant Miller. I am your local Georgia real estate agent. I am under Maximum Realtor Partners, and I have a business under them, Bryant Miller Realty Group, and then I have a flipping business and buy and hold business, Buy Houses R Us. Educational background, not that it really matters anymore, is but I have an associate degree in business and a bachelor's degree in supply chain management. So I kind of use those two skills I had to put into real estate investing. And I was a Quick Trip manager for 8 years. So my customer service background from that comes with me as well. And I am a mentor for real estate agents that come into the business, as well as real estate investors closing their first deal. So that's a little bit about me. Let's talk about Mr. Ramon, our special guest for today. So Ramon is a Atlanta native. His entire life he was like an entrepreneur, and so his grandfather had many successful businesses, and then a real estate portfolio. And then as far as as a teenager, he owned a lot of entrepreneurial businesses, car services and car washes. Um, he inked his first deal in real estate as a freshman at Georgia State University, so he has college background as well. And then he got a doctorate from Emory Law School for real estate investing endeavors. Ramon is a proud father of 5 children who enjoys reading, sports, and travel, and he's a seasoned investor of 23 years plus. Crazy. So he's a coach, a trainer, a mentor, a radio host, wealth builder, and a public speaker. And we'll get more into his different events later. So that's a huge background. You're getting a lot of knowledge, 23 years in the industry. He went through the ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, all that good stuff. So definitely, if you haven't grabbed that pen and paper yet, just go ahead and grab it now, because we're about to get started. So let's go to work. So I'm just gonna ask a couple of questions, Mr. Ramon, and you guys just elaborate, or however you want to do it. If you have any question, guys, make sure you put it in the question and answer or the chat room. All right, Mr. Ramon. Unmute.
Okay.
There you go.
Look, I wanna first, before we even get started, man, I want to thank you and tell you how much we appreciate you for doing what you're doing over the next 7 days. I know you're super busy already, and for you to put this together with such an amazing group of folks, we really respect it, man. And secondly, your degrees and your background is why you're so great at what you're doing today. You know, I hear a lot of people not discredit their degrees, but you have an amazing background at such a young age, and I can tell you that supply chain degree and that business degree, it's helping. We may not know how it's helping, you know, directly, but it's like stuff with our parents, you know, stuff our parents say, we think like, man, they crazy, right? But then a few years down the road, it comes out and it gives you an advantage over some other folks. So again, man, kudos to you. Thank God for you doing this, man. And, you know, we wish you nothing but the best this weekend, you know, of course, forevermore. So we ready though.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I guess the first things first, like, you know, how did you get started in real estate and fix and flip?
So my grandfather was the roofer. My father had a portfolio. My grandfather was a roofer. My grandfather was just a sheer he was, and so he was a person that didn't have a formal education. They were actually part of a family that was sharecroppers down in Madison, Georgia. And the story has it, he walked here and then they went to Chattanooga and came back here. And his skills, man, I remember at 8 years old, I was teaching him how, right? But he was so good with his hands. He got up early every day. We had, you know, in the city, we had chickens and stuff growing in the house. We stayed in Kirkwood, right? And we saw him, though, go to work every day at Tip Top Roofing. And as kids, we would be on top of houses and top of buildings. Like, I remember going on top of the Westin. And so that's kind of my first entry. But my father owned a ton of real estate, commercial and residential, multifamily. And so he encouraged us always as kids, man. He used to tell us, like, you know how you don't, you know, you're always mad at your parents. And so we always say, man, I want to go get a job. And he would say, if you get a job in this house, you're going to pay bills. But if you want a business, I got you. And so we would always come up with ways. He would always encourage us to start businesses, from car washes to, we just laugh because I showed my kids, my sons, you know, just teach them how to wash cars, lawn care services, just various businesses throughout our teenage years. And so when we got to be an adult, like for me, I was always looking for ways to make money. And so when I came out of high school, he kept saying, go to real estate school, go and learn how to, you know, work in, you know, selling houses. And so when I got in my first year of college, I actually started, I graduated on my 18th birthday from high school. And then I started college a week later. I started in the summertime. And so, you know, I got bored easily as a kid. And he kept saying, go to, you know, figure out a way to get into it. And so I ran into somebody. They was like, listen, man, we're looking for some deals. This is how you guys can make some money. So we started out bird dogging. I started out bird dogging in Vine City and Kirkwood, right? West End somewhat, where we were getting $500 to $1,000 a deal. The first year we did a few deals. The second year we did upwards of about 100 deals. And then by the third year, by the time I was 21, we were rocking and rolling. And so by that time, fixing and flipping was not sexy yet. Buying, holding is what we saw growing up. The people that were wealthy that we knew owned rental properties. And so that's where I started, buying and holding. Okay. After being a bird dog, you know, it wasn't wholesaling. You know, we didn't understand wholesaling. We were getting $500 to $1,000 a deal. And then we started buying and selling, buying and holding. And so by the time, I guess I was 21, we had bought a few properties and we were moving into the, you know, multifamily and buying and holding arena.
Okay. Good stuff. Now, for the people that don't really know, what is bird dogging?
Yeah. So bird dogging is, I guess people don't say it no more. They call it property scouts, you know, but it's basically you go out and you locate properties for investors. The only thing that you do is get the address pretty much, right? Or any kind of contact information, but you're not putting it under contract. You're not doing as much as you would be doing if you want to be a good wholesaler. As a bird dog, we would go door knock and say, hey, would you like to sell it? If I can get your information, I would pass it on to my investor. They close the deal, we get a check.
Okay. Okay, good. Like a middleman type of deal.
Yeah, so it's when we say we pay up to $1,000 in referral fees.
Okay.
We basically looking for you to get the information, pass it to us. We're not looking for you to lock it down. We're not looking for you to do any research. It'll be helpful the more information you give us. But if you give us an address and you're riding and you see something, you call us to say, hey, I saw this vacant apartment building, right? Give us the address. We will take that, close it out if possible, and then you will have a check waiting on you.
Nice.
Or Cash App or Zillow or whatever.
Whatever the case may be, however you can get it. All right. So you mentioned wholesaling. So I know wholesaling is a big part of getting into the fix and flips or even building new construction. So can you kind of explain for those who don't know what is wholesaling and how does that work?
Okay. So so what I'll say is wholesaling is one of the strategies to be a part of the real estate world. And then, I always say buying, holding, wholesaling, and then fixing and flip / new construction. Brian, I wouldn't say it's a way to get into the fix and flip world, because wholesaling is not meant for everybody. Not a true wholesale business, right? And I know we'll get into that. And I know you got some great wholesalers coming, but wholesaling is, in my definition, is going out and locating a property or properties for an investor, and you giving that investor that deal at a number that will give them a high chance of success, right? Okay. When I say a high chance of success, I mean you're giving them the best chance they can get with the numbers, and you're looking at what their goals are. Now, does that mean 80 cents on the dollar, 65 cents on the dollar? It's going to depend on that particular buyer. We were wholesaling to the hedge funds, and their numbers were 80, 85 cents. We don't know what they were doing with it, but apparently they knew what they were doing with it, because they were buying, well, they should have known what they were doing with it, because they were buying, hundreds of properties every month, right? On a traditional level, if I'm selling you a fix and flip, my job is to get you that as close as 70 cents on the dollar, like 65 to 70 cents, all in on, of the ARV, so that I know that you have a chance to be successful. I left your margin to be successful. And as a wholesaler, that's my job.
Okay. Good stuff. So good margins lead us into like the fix and flip arena. So let's get into it. Like, how to fix and flip and build new construction? I guess just explain your process. And then the question came in. I think he might explain it. So if he doesn't explain it, then I definitely bring it up.
Okay. So, Brian, I love fixing and flipping. I love rentals. I'm probably, a lot of people look at me as only the fix and flip guy. And so we've come up with processes through trial and error, through formal education, through informal education, through heartache and pain, to be more successful at fixing and flipping. And Brian, I don't know if you know now, I have over 50 steps, right? And we'll probably add more the more deals we do, and the more we think about it, or every time we run into something different, we add something, because that's something we want you guys to not have to go through.
Right.
Somebody said I'm breaking up. Do you hear me clearly, Brian?
It was breaking up a tad bit. It kind of cleared back out.
I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what's wrong, because I'm sitting in my one good spot in my house. Okay, thank you. So fixing and flipping, one, you got to have the right mindset, right? And I know everybody talks about mindset, and that's with any other strategies. You got to have the right mindset. If you're wholesaling, you got to understand you're wholesaling, and your goal is to have your buyers satisfied with you, so they'll keep coming back, not to get that big home run off one buyer, right? And not care what they're doing. That doesn't make you a great wholesaler, right? You got to know how to negotiate. With fixing and flipping, you have to understand that you're going to run into things. You got to understand that you got to be very, 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 very detailed, because anytime you're not detailed and you miss a step or skip a step, you pay for it. You pay for it with money, you pay for it with time, you pay for it with your clients. And I've done it. I've been in all types of them where we have had them go smoothly and they come out right. We fix it, flip it, sell. I've had them go a year. I've had them go 6 months. I've had them go. I mean, we've had it all, and that's why we enjoy teaching you guys so that you don't experience the same thing. You got to learn from us, right? And so when it comes to fixing and flipping, I'm telling you now, I started out when I thought about it last year, we had 30 steps, 33 steps, right? Okay. Since one deal has made me really dig deep and create, content around the 50 plus steps to properly fixing and flipping or building new construction. And so you start off with what I would call the pre-development phase. And in the pre-development or pre-construction phase, you're doing all of your research. You're getting all of your plans and budgets together. You are making sure that the numbers work for you, working with your full team, your real estate agent. And you got to start off working with the real estate agent that's going to sell it in the end, right? Because that's the person that can give you all the insight to your market, even as it's changing. Even like right now, our team understands things are changing, so we're getting up-to-date information, which helps me make a decision about what's going to happen in 60 days, 90 days, 9 months, whatever that may be. And it may change next week. It may change next month, but you got to have the right team. And I know we're all here with Bryant. Bryant is a phenomenal real estate agent because he understands both sides of the coin. So first phase is that pre-development phase, Bryant. Building, knowing who's going to be on your team, knowing what your numbers should be, having your architect, your interior designer work together along with your contractors. So things that we can visualize or conceptualize, we know that it can happen. They can do it, right? Because I've had that mistake where I have a concept and it's like, man, this is going to be beautiful, right? And we get it approved, architects,
Uh-oh. Went on mute. Uh-oh.
Somebody was called.
Hold on real quick.
But we get it approved, and then once we start building out, it's like that doesn't make sense. Come back on.
Let's see. Can everybody else hear?
Can you hear me?
I can
you hear me, Bryant?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I gotta figure out how to shut it down where people can't call in. 1 second.
1 second, guys. Good stuff though. Y'all learn anything yet? While we
Brian, I'm a
on mute.
Can you hear me now, Bryant?
Yeah. Sounds
I'm
good.
gonna probably switch over to my iPad because I was attempting to put it on Do Not Disturb.
Okay.
1 second. Let me.
All right. 1 second while we're doing that. Did anybody have any questions from what we talked about before? How to do anything? I got Nope, no questions other than at this point. I think he's right about to get into this. When do you bring in a property?
Okay, I got it.
Got it.
I got it on Do Not Disturb. I got it on Do Not Disturb now.
All right, let's go to work.
All right, so that first phase is your foundational phase. It is the phase before you start building. It's the one that's probably going to be the most tedious. It's going to be the one that you really prepare yourself for. So having your team, having your budget, having, and I'm going to go back a little bit, making sure you have enough funding to go through a project, even when you hit errors. And I always tell people, you need to have, if you're going to leverage loans, you still need to have about 35% of your total project. So if you find something for 100, putting 100 in, you need to have access to about 70 grand. That would include down payment, carrying costs, and operational costs. If you don't have, 30 to 35%, I'm going to tell you not to get into the fix and flip business. Don't do it. Because if you only got 20%, you're going to run into some headaches. And so then you're going to have cost overrun. You're going to have to pay that mortgage. So those things are things that we all have stressed for. It's probably the biggest issue that we have, being undercapitalized inside of these fix and flips. Things happen. And if you're not prepared for it, you better be prepared to go find some money somewhere really fast, or it's going to delay your project. And then, when delays come, issues come. Houses sit, people steal, the market changes. So much can happen when you're undercapitalized. So I would say that's probably one of my biggest suggestions, Bryant, is have about 35% of that total project. If you're leveraging. If you got all cash, just make sure you got enough cash.
Okay.
All right. So that's phase one. Phase two is just really going through every single step, right? And I think we got somewhere around 30 steps in phase two, right? In phase two is starting with foundation. Even if you're not building new, even if you are renovating, you need to make sure the foundation is solid. You got to get your inspections, right? And that is something that I will say most investors don't want to spend that money. But if you're buying it, pay for an inspection. Make sure your foundation and structure is solid. You got to make sure that it's part, because it's not. That could cost you the entire project. It could cost you tens of thousands of dollars, because that's where everything is built off of that. And then during phase two, just checking off from the foundation to the framing to the roof, making sure somebody other than yourself is inspecting those steps, right? If you have to pay an inspector a few extra dollars, and I don't mean the hard money lender's inspector, I mean your own inspector, then do so. Because you're doing things to protect yourself. When I say inspect your foundation, your roof, your framing, and all of your system, heating, air, plumbing, electrical. I don't mean inspect your sheetrock. I don't mean inspect your light fixtures. I don't mean inspect your flooring. You should be able to do that, right? But I mean the things that make the house habitable. You make sure you're passing on a good product. When it comes to the aesthetical things, then your team, your real estate agent, your interior design, if you have one, and yourself can check behind them. And then phase three is just selling it or using your exit strategy. So your exit strategy is to rent it out, making sure you have a good property manager. If your exit strategy is to sell it, once you clean it, I turn them over to the real estate agent. I don't, once I'm done with my renovations, that is no longer my job. Real estate agents deserve that 6 to 7% because they have so much to deal with, talking back and forth with buyers, showing properties and making sure the transaction goes the way it should go. So that's the phases, Bryant. Okay. Again, it's over 50 steps.
Okay. All right. So as far as that, within that phase, when do you bring on a property manager to help with the workload of your renovation projects? It's from Errol.
So a project manager, I would, if you're bringing on a project manager, and so let me distinguish between general contractor and project manager.
Okay.
They could be the same person if you trust them enough. Now, if you bring on a project manager, just know that you're paying a general contractor their fee and the project manager their fee. So this is why you got to learn how to manage your own projects. With us, we are project managers that have general contractors that work for us. So you're not paying double. A lot of the times I see people paying double because the general contractor is going to charge 10 to 12% of that budget, and so is the project manager. We charge 10% of full budget, and we bring in our general contractor. So it's a little bit different. But I would bring them on during phase one. I would bring them on in the planning stage because if they're the project manager, they have to set the schedule. They have to know who the contractors are. Can they work with the contractors? How they're going to oversee the general contractor, the whole plan and permit process. If they are a project manager, they need to set that schedule. They're the person that's got to keep up with it every week, not me as the owner.
Okay, so project manager
Day
at the
one.
first planning stage.
Yep, yep. They need to come along. The entire team needs to be need to get involved in that first phase, but so that we can properly plan it. You know, everybody knows what our expectations are. Everybody understands, and you may have to fire somebody throughout the process, but at least you start off with a team.
Okay. Good stuff. Any other questions from where we are at this point? Got one that came in. What makes up an entire team?
So, so an entire team on the construction side, and this is not your entire team for your real estate business, but on the construction side, it would be your, again, starting with your real estate agent, right? Bryant. There's no other,
Hey.
there's no other agent. Starting with your agent, right? Who can help you determine the areas, values, and so forth, right? Then you need to have your contractor, project manager. If you need an architect slash, architect and engineers, interior designers, um, um, and that's really it. And then all of the other contractors. If you're using a general contractor, then you don't need to have all your sheetrock guys, plumbing, electricians there, right? Because that's the general contractor's job.
Right.
But if you're overseeing the entire job, you need to have every contractor that's going to be a part of it be in that initial phase. Electricians, sheetrock guys, roofers. Everybody needs to at least have one meeting before we get started.
Okay, good stuff. Got a question that came in. How do you determine the rehab budget? And that's kind of going into what we're talking about next, how to analyze the deal. So that leads us right into it. Yeah, let's do it.
So rehab budgets can be determined a few ways. We teach that at Flipology, some short ways to do it. But one of the best ways is to have a relationship with a contractor. If you're going to be a project manager, your project manager should be able to put that together for you, help you put that together. For us, Bryant, we charge for scopes of work.
Okay.
And so if you're looking at a project, you have it under contract, you're getting ready to close it, we always ask for about a week time for us to get everybody out there. And then we can help with that. So other ways to determine it is just learn a price per square footage, which is not going to be as accurate as getting the people out there, which takes longer. Getting the contractors out there takes longer than just saying, you know what, in my area, to renovate, to do a high-end renovation, it may be $80 a square foot, right? And I'm just throwing a number out there. In certain areas, it may be a little bit more because of the height of the ceilings, because of the finishing, because of the neighborhood, because of the permit cost, because of the architectural piece. Renovations can be anywhere from $60, dollars to $100 a square foot, and then building new can be anywhere from $100 to $150 a square foot or more. Again, depending on what you're building and where you're building at.
Okay. So you need did that answer your question? I think that did.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it did pretty well. Good job at it, Miss Jackie. And that's good. So we can move on. Cool. Good to go. So I guess we kind of touched on analyzing deals. Through all those phases. Is there, I guess, a certain point that you use how do you analyze a deal? I guess from start to finish. Yeah.
So from start to finish, let's say we have a lead, and somebody asked a question about lead generation. Brian, I don't want you to miss it for wholesaling. I seen it pop up, and then it went away.
I asked while you was on break if they had any questions before. So yeah, I guess we can. This leads into that. Yeah, I guess.
Right. All right, good deal. I just want to make sure we didn't miss it. So analyzing a deal, because of our experience, because of our team, it seems a lot easier for me. But if you were new, just starting, you want to learn how to analyze a deal, one is understanding what the values are of the property as is and after it's repaired, right? And again, working with a great real estate agent is great, but you want to be able to do this without calling your agent every time you get an address. And so I use softwares like PropStream. Bryant, I know you have it. I also know how to use Zillow and Redfin. And let me say this: some people say, "Oh my God, not Zillow and Redfin," but you can go in there and find out not the Zestimate, go in there and find out what has sold and what's on the market in the neighborhood, right? And so that starts to give me some kind of bearing to what this property will sell for. But I also, when I start to buy in the neighborhood, I will learn the neighborhood myself. I don't want to depend on my agent for that. I don't want to depend on the appraisals for that. I want to know what is sold like within the same blocks, not 1 mile out. I don't use 1 mile in town. I use quarter of a mile at the furthest. Like I like 10th of a mile, 0.15, no more than a quarter of a mile, because we start to jump neighborhoods when you go half a mile. It's really none of our neighborhoods that are, there shouldn't be a comp within the mile, especially as hot as this market has been. So one, I found out what we could sell this property for. Then two, you got to learn, again, it's a good question, how do you determine the rehab cost? And that's why I use that quick reference, $80 to $85 a square foot. If we're building new, $100 a square foot. So then I take that number and I use the 65. We're using 65% right now. Okay. 70% is still working in town because it's still a shortage of product. It's still a shortage. We don't have a ton of good stuff out there. So if you want to go 60 to 75%, we use the formula where we take the ARV, which is that value that we determine that this property will be worth if we fix it up and sell it. Multiply that by 65 to 70%, right? And then once I get that number, I subtract repairs, and then I know that that's what I should pay for it. And I want to compare apples to apples. I want to compare quality of renovations to quality of renovations. I want to compare size. I want to make sure if all of those comps are 1,300 square feet, I need to figure out what to do to make my property be 1,300 square feet, or understand what the price per square footage is. And that doesn't always work, but it's a way to start off with your analysis. So hopefully that answered.
Okay. Let's note that answer. And then I am going to go back to how to generate leads on wholesaling. Right. So it's a number of ways of leads, the driving for dollars, the probates, evictions, free foreclosures.
Buying that list from Deanna.
Right. And then that's what I was leading into. Definitely. We got her talking is how to generate leads weekly with Miss Deanna Britt on, I believe it's Thursday at 12 o'clock. So definitely go back through the link tree and register for her class. So she's going to be going over all of it in detail, how to generate those leads.
Yeah, so she makes it so easy for everybody. Yeah. You reach out to Deanna and she not only will sell you a list, but she also trains on how to use, not saying you can just call her and get, the training right away, but she has different videos, YouTube videos, training videos, where she's teaching you how to do the marketing side of things to get your leads and to use her list, to maximize her list. So like you said, that, and then driving for dollars, I want to say is probably, I love driving for dollars. My list of drive for dollars.
Yep. Oh, you still there?
Did I answer? I mean, was that?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, they register. Yeah, good stuff. Definitely don't want to miss that one. Definitely don't want to miss any of them. Cool. Looks like he's gone away. See if he can get back in there. Oh, no, he didn't. There, Ramon.
Peace.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now. Good stuff.
I don't see you, but I hear you.
You don't see me? Let's see.
Nope.
Can anybody else see me or hear me? Very good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with mine.
Yes, I
But as
did.
long as you can hear me.
Right. I'm rolling away. Let's see. Yes, driving for dollars. Yes, driving for dollars. Did you say driving for dollars? Cool. Ramon, you still there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I'm here. Okay.
All right, cool. So, we're gonna move to the next question. We kind of touched on it, but just to elaborate a little more, are you using like any systems to like track all of this stuff, or we're similar in ways. I'm old school, so I like to use, Excel spreadsheet, Google Sheets. But other than that, are you using any systems to track all this stuff, or you just got it all in your head?
So, so that has been one, if I had to say one of my weaknesses is not being more automated, I will say. But Excel has been kind of my baby. I'm able to read Excel sheets and develop Excel sheets. I know you guys bring me along more with software, a million different things, but you got to understand it. I have paid for a bunch of stuff and not used it. And so I stick to a board. So I track all of my properties on the boards.
Okay.
I started using Trello, which is a digital whiteboard, which is just like my boards, in the office out there. And so, again, Excel has been my baby.
Right.
On a daily basis, I update my Excel sheets. And is there other project management software? Yes. But you just be able to make sure interfaces with what you're using, and you got to have time to use it. So a lot of us go buy a ton of stuff, and we don't even have time to use it. So keep it simple.
Yep.
I know that's a young man with an amazing investment curriculum called KISS, right? And I believe that's the way we got to keep it. We got to keep it simple.
Yep. Keep a simple system. Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. Like at the end of last year, I went through my account and I'm like, man, all these subscriptions. I canceled like $300 worth of subscriptions just coming out of my account because it was good, it worked, whatever. But the only system that really works is the one that you work. And so Excel is the perfect. I use Google Sheets so I can take it with me, but either one of them it definitely works. So you keep it free on that. Are PMs paid at the end of the job or in increments throughout the life cycle of the job? Okay. Are project managers paid at the end of the job or in increments throughout the life cycle of the job? Like with the contractor?
Yeah, it's so for us, it's throughout the job, and it's even payments, right? It will be, and again, it depends, but I would say more than likely it's going to be throughout the job. Some up front, some at different phases, and that's for you guys to agree upon. For us, we do it in four. We do it in four phases. 25% up front, 25% when we get to through the rough ends. 25% once we get the sheetrock going, paint up, and then 25% when we hand you the keys. So again, but that depends on your contractor. Somebody may say I want 50% up front, 50% when we're done. Somebody may say I want a third, a third, a third. But more than likely, you're going to pay them throughout the project because it's a tough job. Project management is probably the toughest job if you're doing a great job project managing.
Right. And that's all the agreements in that first phase too, when you're budgeting for your money and everything.
Correct.
So yeah, it's negotiable. Now as far as, and we touched on this as well, but how to manage, can we talk about his experience with cutting trees? Cutting trees like off the lots. Okay. Yeah. Can you talk about your experience with cutting down trees or cutting?
So pretty much, I bring in tree specialist. It depends on where you are. You might want to get a permit.
Yeah.
I know in the city of Atlanta, if you cut down a tree, without a permit, you could probably wish you never ever seen a tree. They're going to fine you so bad. So bring in professional tree companies that have the right license and insurance that know how to pull down the trees. There's a lot of places that require permits. The arborist department are going to require permits. So look into that before you just cut down trees. Now, if it's hanging over your house and it's dangerous, you cut down a limb, that's something different. If the tree is dead, I know that, you can cut it down, but I would always look into what the county or city says about cutting down trees. Because I can give you guys a story. My friend cut down trees in their yard, and it was a bunch of trees, and they had a 5-figure fine. So, and they do this business on a regular basis, so they could have easily cut down the trees because a lot of them were necessary, but they decided to do it on their own. Literally, it was 5 figures what their fine was from the city.
On a tree.
It was a bunch of trees.
Right. But yeah.
I think they got fined something like $700 to $800 per tree.
So yeah, definitely check with the county to see if you need a permit for that. Because that definitely wasn't in the budget, I'm sure. So as far as like managing the teams and or we already talked about managing property managers or project managers, general contractors. So how, like, once you get all of that down and compact and confined, how do you leverage and scale doing this at a high level? Because you're in multiple cities, multiple markets doing this. How does someone do that?
So one, it goes back to you really understanding how to build your teams, right? I'll go back even further. You got to have the right mentality behind it. When you're doing things out of state, you're going to be spending a little bit more money normally than you will in town because you are paying more people to replace you in your team, right? There's going to be some more bumps and bruises as you grow, but developing the system that we have right now comes from us doing a lot of deals, understanding that you got to have the right finances in place and the right partners. That's the key to scaling. The funding and the relationship with your partners. Everything else is the exact same. I don't think me doing deals in Atlanta is any different than me doing deals in Cleveland or in Alabama because we know what people we need on our team. Right. We know what we expect out of our renovations. Our realtor is going to be very, very important or probably, I don't want to say more important because I don't want it to sound that way, but more important in the process in places outside of Atlanta, outside of your backyard, right? Because I don't want to just say Atlanta because you may be in Houston, you may be in New York, you may be somewhere else. If I'm here, I can drive to the property, right? And I know my neighborhoods. But if I'm not in the city, I am more reliant upon my real estate agent to do more, including taking the pictures, doing videos, understanding what that buyer needs in that city or that tenant needs. So in order to scale up, you got to have more money. You do. It's probably that 100% stuff is going to be challenging, especially now. Even when you understand funding, you got to have carrying costs. You got to be able to float these jobs. And so, the biggest thing, Bryant, is your relationship with your team and the funding. Everything else is the exact same. Don't act like it's out of town. Just know that I got a team there. Act like it's, 45 minutes away. And this teaches you how to be able to work from home because you're depending on your contractor to have a check and balance system with your inspector, and your real estate agent should have a check and balance system over all of them. So nobody's in cahoots, nobody screws up. They're all working together, but they're working together for your behalf. So somebody screws up, then the other one reports. One another, you should be getting a report on a regular basis, like weekly or bi-weekly basis, not 30 days. I'm not giving you 60 days to float. No, I want a weekly report.
Yeah, indeed. I had a question that came in. Can you assist me in Cleveland with team Born and raised in Cleveland, but went to school at Clark Atlanta. Just now getting the credit in my life together to start investing. Oh yeah.
So yeah, we have an amazing team in Cleveland. So get with Bryant, and whatever you need, we can help you guys with. If you need project managers, we have project managers and deals in Cleveland. So definitely, Cleveland is one of our, I call it one of our, because our team there is just as strong as our team here in Atlanta.
Good stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely reach out and see how we can close some deals this year. Did anyone have any question that we kind of didn't cover or didn't go over?
And Tori Henderson says same in Houston.
Same in Houston. Oh yeah, we got a big team. You're in Houston too, right? I was there like 3 or 4 times last year.
They said they used to say that's my second home.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We in 2018, Bryant, we were there so much it was crazy.
Really?
Like we used to get on a plane and go. Yeah. I mean, we did a flip. So we did a flipology in 2018. There.
Really? Oh yeah, because you was talking with Chris and DJ the other day too. They out of Houston, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That was
in Houston, yeah. Can
I saw a question about undeveloped land or
right. Yeah. Rail is very cool people. Make sure you catch her Sunday. All right. Can you describe what undeveloped means exactly? And if a lot has a sewer line, though a house has if the lot has a sewer line, though a house right, you see it has been, so if the sewer line
sewer, or it hasn't ever been cleared or probably hasn't been there. And if it has access to sewer, I'm not sure you a sewer tap. You got water taps and sewer taps that you have to do, and the city will give you the rules behind that. So if there's a sewer tap, you just have to tap in. If a vacant lot has a sewer line or a house number, yeah. So it's not. That's always wording. That's how somebody looks at it. The city is going to be developed. All right. It depends on if you're in like a rural area, but you just simply plug in and do a sewer tap.
Kind of got a little disconnected.
Okay, and I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
Say something again.
Can you hear me, Bryant?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. All right. Tori, I'm sorry, Bryant. What I was saying is the city of Atlanta considers if a lot develops, if it have access to the sewer line and water lines. For me, we still got to pay for it to be tapped into, so I would call it undeveloped. Different areas, different rules. But if it has access to a sewer line, then you do have to pay for the tap. So hopefully that answer. Did you? Am I going in and out again, Ryan?
The last little part. Did anybody else hear? Make sure.
Okay, I'll repeat it, Brian. I'll repeat it. Basically what I said was, if it has not been tapped into the sewer line or the water line, just consider it undeveloped. If it hasn't been assigned an address, consider it undeveloped. Depends on who you talking to. Got me? Did you get that right?
Yeah, bits and pieces. But I believe you said if it if it's not tapped, considered it undeveloped for like the sewer lines
Or and no address,
and
and
no
if the
address.
address has and no address, yeah, because you're
Okay.
gonna have to go through a process to get those assigned and to get permits to get it tapped.
Okay. Did you get that part? It's, mm, can the city confirm if it's tapped?
They should be able to, but it depends on the age of it. They should be able to, but it would have to have an address assigned to it at one point in time to have a tap.
Okay. Or is that the surveyor? So yeah.
Surveyor definitely can do it. I know some, we're doing our best to,
Went on mute.
we're doing our best to cut costs by just asking the city, but sometimes they're not able to pull that information.
Okay. So surveyor definitely be able to do it. If the city don't know.
You muted, Bryant.
Me too.
There you go.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, okay.
But if you're buying, so here's the thing: if you're buying raw land or you're buying a lot that hasn't been built on, it is in your best interest to get a full survey, site planning survey. And that is one of the costs that's associated with the business, because the city could say something and be absolutely wrong.
Yep.
And you don't want to buy something based upon their error. You want to make sure that you do all of your research and make sure you have an updated survey. And that's where, I tell people all the time, Brian, that when you bring us land, we need time. I'm
Right.
not closing lot next week. I'm not closing land next week unless you already have a survey, unless you're doing some other stuff.
Yep. It's true, because you can build on the wrong land and it's just like, thank you.
Yep. And I apologize about that connection. I'm not sure what's going on with the connection. I'm not sure, Brian, I apologize.
I know, that's fine. Thanks for the feedback, Eric. We'll definitely look into it. Um, awesome. So I think that about answered everything. If nobody has any additional questions, I do want to talk about, first off, I want to thank Mr. Ramon Tookes for taking time out of his busy day. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to do a webinar with me and everybody else to educate us on fix and flip and new construction. You can follow Ramon on Facebook and Instagram at Ramon Tookes. And then if you need any speaking engagement arranged, you can reach out to Miss Jill at that number or at that email address. Ramon did say he had an event earlier of Flipology. So if you want to get into real estate, it goes from step A. I mean, he gave us this in an hour. So spend a 3-day event on how to find deals, analyze deals. He has every connection you need to get started in real estate investing. Money, hard money, credit card, high utilization, all kind of stuff to get you set up properly for real estate investing. So definitely check out Flipology 101. I guess just reach out to him on Facebook or IG to learn more about that. How do you
They
want to?
can register. Yeah, they can register. It's July 10th through 12th, and they can register at universityofwealthbuilding.com. We're going to have it either way. I know we're getting a lot of questions on that, whether it be live or in person, all of us together, or we do it virtually. This is an amazing platform, and I know you don't get the full experience, but we will figure it out. I think we'll be open by July 10th. And so we're moving it along as if we're going to be meeting in some venue. But if not, we're still going to give you guys everything that you get, and you're going to have to sit still for 2.5 days.
Really, really good stuff. Like, I'm personally using myself. That's why I know so much. And yeah, I think that's it. So, some other. Let me go back real quick. So, other speaking arrangement this for the rest of this week. We have Mr. Jeremy Johnson up tomorrow for 12 o'clock, and he's going to tell you guys about how to do a turnkey real estate business. So pretty much he finds the deals, he analyzes the deal, he rehabs the deal for you, and then he puts a tenant in place. He has a bunch of foreign investors that he does that with, so definitely want to check that out. And then Wednesday we have Michael Brown. He'll be talking about, he's a registered nurse, and so he has a 9 to 5, and he will be show you how you do a 9 to 5 and manage a real estate portfolio. Then Wednesday night we have Mr. Errol J. Allen, and he's going to talk about how to find deals and turn them into Airbnbs, profitable Airbnbs, even in this COVID-19 season. From Ms. Tori, I believe you asked about Ms. Deanna Britt. Let's talk about how to generate fresh leads weekly to save time and money eventually. And then you have Mr. Michael Braswell, how to calculate hard money and to use it to profit in real estate deals. So all of these are connected, especially what Ramon said, because you need, unless you just have the cash, like you said, you would need hard money or some type of private financing to get into these deals. And then Saturday morning, Mr. Richard Panera is going to be talking about mindset before entering into multifamily investing. He has a couple of properties or a few multifamilies on college campuses, and the Airbnb them too. Is good stuff. And then Sunday, no, before I go there, I have if you want to get into your first time home, I am having a seminar, first time home buyer seminar at 12 o'clock on Saturday, and that's going to give you the steps to get into home ownership. And then Sunday, finally, we have Miss Rail Green just going to talk about how to manage other investors' property for a profit. So she manages over 500 different investors' properties and does a wonderful job at it. So the link tree down here at the bottom, go to register for any of those meetups. And this, I'm telling you, we're gonna add a lot of value and make some things happen, change some mindsets going forward. Still want to thank you again, Mr. Ramon Tookes, for being with us today. And if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and end it out. Did you have any final thoughts or anything, Mr. Ramon?
No, listen, I want to thank you again for having me on. I also want to thank you for just putting this event on, Bryant. It takes a lot to put an event on. You are super busy and could be doing, like you said, a ton of other things today. And then I also want to say, y'all, listen, don't just absorb this information. Make sure you do something. Little steps, one foot before the other. Make sure you take action. You have Bryant, who has everything that you possibly need. He's bringing you guys a snippet of what his resources are like. And so don't be afraid to get going. Just get going with the right folks, and you're connected to the right folks. You got Bryant right in your fold. So, yeah, let's make something happen. Bryant, I'll be excited to hear the results from this in the next 30 to 60 days. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of deals closed after this conference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I didn't even leave my contact information. This Ramon contact information, go back. But you can reach me at on Facebook and Instagram as well, Bryant Miller. Instagram is Realtor Bryant Miller. And then if you wanted to get into real estate investing, close your first deal, just go to workwithbryant.com. It should be at the bottom of my name on the sheet. And that's it. If you want to get into your first house, go to the link, and then we'll have that consultation Saturday.
Or your second or your third. You get second, third, fourth. If you just need something, Brian got you.
Yeah, man. Anything you need, business. If you want to be in real estate, I got people for that too. But yeah, or if it's take action, my first, will it be recorded in case I'm live? We're working on something like that. So I'll definitely be in touch if we have anything recorded or published or anything. I'm trying to see. I was talking. I didn't even see all these questions. I'll be there for each. Awesome. We'll see you there, Tori. All right. So I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Look forward to seeing you for the rest of the week. And maybe, like you said, take action. It's not going to do it long if you study all this good stuff and don't take action. Nothing's still going to happen. So if you need some accountability, reach out to Ramon or myself, and we'll definitely, with your permission, we will hold you accountable. Cool. So, all right, guys. Thanks a million. We will talk to you later this week.
Thank you, man. Have a good week. A good day.
Likewise. Thanks, Ramon.
All right.